Have you ever woken up on Christmas morning to complete silence and felt relief? Not sadness, not loneliness, but actual relief that you don't have to perform, pretend, or navigate family dynamics today. Or maybe you woke up to that same silence and felt crushing loneliness, scrolling through photos of everyone else with their families, wondering why you're the only person who has no one. The strange thing about spending Christmas alone is that it means completely different things to different people. For some, it's chosen peace. For others, it's painful isolation. Same day, same situation, completely opposite psychological experiences. And the world doesn't really understand that there are two kinds of alone on Christmas. The kind you want and the kind you desperately don't. This isn't just about being alone on one day, though that's where it becomes most visible. This is something deeper, more psychologically complex, and far more varied than most people realize. The experience of spending Christmas alone when the entire culture around you celebrates togetherness, but your relationship to that aloneness could be anything from sanctuary to devastation, when one person's peaceful solitude is another person's painful isolation, when the same action, being alone on Christmas, reveals completely different things about who you are and what you need. It affects millions of people in ways that range from liberating to heartbreaking, depending entirely on whether the aloneness is chosen or circumstantial. Understanding the psychology reveals something uncomfortable about holidays, expectations, and how we judge aloneness. That being alone on Christmas isn't automatically sad or automatically healthy. That some people are alone because they desperately need the peace, while others are alone because they desperately need connection they can't find. That the culture assumes everyone wants the same thing: family gatherings, togetherness, celebration, when actually, people's needs on Christmas vary as wildly as people themselves. When researchers study people who spend Christmas alone, they discover something fascinating. The psychological experience isn't determined by being alone. It's determined by whether that aloneness is chosen or forced. People who choose to be alone on Christmas often report relief, peace, and genuine contentment. People who are alone against their will report acute loneliness, social pain, and feelings of exclusion. Same situation, completely different nervous system response, because the human brain processes chosen solitude and forced isolation as entirely different experiences. But how does someone arrive at spending Christmas alone in the first place? The paths are wildly varied, and understanding them reveals why this single situation creates such different psychological experiences. Some people choose Christmas alone deliberately and intentionally. Maybe they have toxic family dynamics that make family gatherings emotionally dangerous. Every Christmas with family meant walking on eggshells, managing others' emotions, enduring criticism, or reliving old traumas. So this year they chose differently. They chose peace over performance. They chose their mental health over obligation. And that choice feels like freedom. Or perhaps they're introverts who genuinely need solitude to recharge. And Christmas with others, while not terrible, leaves them depleted. They tried it for years and realized they actually prefer being alone. Not because they hate people, because solitude feels better than forced socializing. They don't experience Christmas alone as missing out. They experience it as finally honoring what they actually need instead of what they're supposed to want. But others are alone on Christmas not by choice, but by circumstance. Maybe their family lives far away and they can't afford to travel. Maybe they've been estranged or excluded. Maybe they moved to a new place for work and haven't built connections yet. Maybe they're grieving someone who made Christmas matter, a partner, a parent, a spouse, and being alone feels like the only option, even though it's devastating. Maybe they desperately want to be with people but simply have no one to be with. Their aloneness isn't chosen. It's what happened when circumstances didn't give them better options. Each of these experiences creates completely different psychological states. For people who choose Christmas alone, it creates what psychologists call restorative solitude, being alone in ways that heal, restore, and align with genuine needs. For people who are alone unwillingly, it creates what psychologists call social isolation, being alone in ways that hurt, deplete, and conflict with desperate need for connection. The external situation looks identical. The internal experience is completely opposite. Over time, these different experiences create different patterns and relationships with Christmas itself. People who choose to be alone often feel liberated. Christmas used to be stressful, obligatory, exhausting. Now it's peaceful. They wake up and do exactly what they want. They don't cook elaborate meals unless they want to. They don't buy gifts out of obligation. They don't manage other people's expectations or emotions. They watch what they want, eat what they want, rest as much as they want. Christmas becomes a day for themselves instead of a day of performance for others. But people who are alone unwillingly often feel the opposite. Christmas becomes a magnifying glass for loneliness they usually manage to hide. The weeks leading up feel like countdown to inevitable isolation. People ask, "What are your plans?" And they have to navigate whether to lie or tell the truth and watch people get uncomfortable. Every store, every song, every commercial reinforces that Christmas is about being together, and they're going to be apart. Not by choice, by circumstance they can't control. People who spend Christmas alone, whether by choice or circumstance, develop complicated relationships with cultural expectations. The culture insists Christmas should be spent with family, that being alone on Christmas is sad, abnormal, something to fix. But people who choose aloneness reject this completely. They're not sad, they're content. They don't need fixing. They need people to stop assuming their chosen solitude is a problem. Meanwhile, people who are unwillingly alone feel the weight of those assumptions differently, confirming their fear that yes, something is wrong, because everyone's supposed to be with someone and they're not. This creates patterns that others misunderstand constantly. When someone says they're spending Christmas alone, people immediately assume it's sad and offer pity or charity invitations. For people who chose aloneness, this is frustrating. They don't want pity for a decision they're happy about. For people who are unwillingly alone, charity invitations feel humiliating. They don't want to be someone's good deed, the person invited out of obligation rather than genuine desire for their presence. The irony operates differently for each group. People who choose Christmas alone often have to defend their choice against judgment. Family members get offended. Friends worry. Society treats their preference as antisocial or sad. They're happy, but everyone keeps insisting they shouldn't be. Meanwhile, people who are unwillingly alone watch others complain about family obligations and think, "I'd give anything to have someone obligated to include me." The same holiday creates opposite problems: too much pressure to participate versus desperate desire to be included. The internal world of someone spending Christmas alone varies dramatically based on choice. For those who chose it, Christmas morning brings relief and freedom. They can breathe. They don't have to manage anyone's emotions or meet anyone's expectations. The quiet isn't oppressive. It's peaceful. They're not lonely. They're content. They're exactly where they want to be, doing exactly what they want to do. Their nervous system reads the day as safe, restorative, aligned with their needs. But for those alone, unwillingly, Christmas morning brings heavy awareness of absence. The silence isn't peaceful. It's crushing. They're not content. They're lonely. They're not where they want to be. They're isolated by circumstance. Their nervous system reads the day as social exclusion, as evidence they don't matter to anyone, as confirmation of fears about being fundamentally alone. Same morning, same silence, completely different psychological experience. This creates different kinds of grief depending on the situation. People who chose Christmas alone might grieve the expectation they had to leave behind. the version of themselves that tried to make family gatherings work, that forced themselves to participate in traditions that never fit them. But it's grief mixed with relief. They lost something, but what they gained, peace, authenticity, freedom, feels worth it. People who are unwillingly alone experience different grief. They're grieving the absence of people they wish were there, family they wish existed, friends they thought they'd have, partners who aren't present, the life they imagined where Christmas meant connection instead of isolation. Their grief has no relief mixed in. It's just absence all the way down. The relationship with Christmas tradition splits along these lines too. People who choose aloneness often create new traditions that actually fit them. Maybe they watch movies all day. Maybe they take a long hike. Maybe they cook their favorite meal instead of traditional dishes they never liked. Maybe they ignore Christmas entirely and treat it like any other day. Their traditions reflect choice and authenticity rather than obligation. But people who are unwillingly alone struggle with traditions differently. Do they maintain old traditions alone, which feels sad? Do they skip traditions, which feels like giving up? Do they try to create new ones when there's no one to share them with? Every option feels wrong because traditions are meant to be shared, and they have no one to share them with. This affects how different people move through December and Christmas Day itself. For those who chose aloneness, December might actually feel lighter than usual. They're not stressed about buying perfect gifts, or cooking perfect meals, or managing family dynamics. They're not dreading anything. Christmas Day arrives, and it's just another day, or it's a special day they get to spend exactly how they want. Time passes easily because they're content. But for those unwillingly alone, December gets progressively harder. Every conversation asks about their plans. Every store reminds them of what they don't have. Christmas Day itself feels endless. Time moves slowly. Hours stretch. Nothing happens except awareness of their own isolation while the world celebrates together. They try to fill the time, make it pass faster, survive until tomorrow when the pressure lifts. What makes this particularly important to understand is how judgment affects both groups differently. People who choose Christmas alone face judgment for their choice, seen as antisocial, damaged, or somehow failing at life because they don't want what everyone's supposed to want. They have to defend peace that shouldn't need defending. Meanwhile, people unwillingly alone face different judgment, pity, discomfort, the assumption that something's wrong with them if they have no one to spend Christmas with. Both groups face judgment, just different kinds. The physical experience of Christmas Day alone varies too. For people who chose it, their bodies are relaxed. No obligation stress, no social performance anxiety, no navigating difficult relationships. They can rest genuinely. Their nervous system recognizes this as restorative time. But for people unwillingly alone, their bodies hold tension. The loneliness is physical, heavy chest, restless energy, inability to settle. Their nervous system recognizes this as social exclusion, which humans are wired to experience as threat. Modern culture's visibility of others' celebrations affects both groups, but differently. People who chose Christmas alone might scroll past family gathering photos without pain. They actively didn't want that, so seeing it doesn't hurt. But people unwillingly alone find social media torturous. Every photo is evidence of what they want, but don't have. Every smiling family is a reminder that they're excluded from the togetherness everyone else seems to access easily. Yet within both experiences, chosen and unchosen, something important can exist. For people who chose Christmas alone, the day confirms they can trust themselves. They chose their needs over cultural expectations, and it worked. They're okay. Better than okay. They're learning that choosing themselves doesn't make them selfish. It makes them honest. That's powerful. For people unwillingly alone, Christmas alone, while painful, often forces clarity. The loneliness can't be ignored today. It's right there, unavoidable. And that painful clarity shows them exactly what they need. Not things, not perfect celebrations, just people. Just connection, just mattering to someone. That clarity, while brutal, is also valuable. You can't change what you can't see clearly. The anticipation of future Christmases creates different feelings for each group. People who chose Christmas alone might look forward to next year with relief. They found what works for them and can do it again. People unwillingly alone might look ahead with dread. Will they be alone again? Will this become their pattern? One group has found peace. The other fears repetition of pain. Their internal voices sound completely different. For those who chose aloneness, the voice might say, "You made the right choice. This is better. You're allowed to want this." For those unwillingly alone, the voice might say, "Everyone else has people. Why don't you? What's wrong with you that no one wants you there?" Same situation, completely different internal dialogue. The concept of home feels different too. For people who chose Christmas alone, home is sanctuary, exactly where they want to be, arranged exactly how they like it, filled with peace. For people unwillingly alone, home is reminder of what's missing. Too quiet, too empty, evidence that they don't have the people homes are supposed to be filled with. Some people in both groups develop strategies, but for different reasons. Those who chose aloneness might turn off their phones, avoid social media, create perfect solitary days. Those strategies protect their chosen peace. Those unwillingly alone might volunteer, work, or sleep excessively. Those strategies help them survive a day they wish was different. So if you're spending Christmas alone this year, whether by choice or circumstance, know that your experience is valid. If you chose this and you're content, you're not broken or antisocial. You're honoring genuine needs over cultural expectations, and that's healthy even if others don't understand. If you're alone unwillingly and it hurts, you're not defective or unlovable. You're experiencing real pain from real isolation, and that pain is valid even if others minimize it. The psychology behind spending Christmas alone reveals something important about human diversity and needs, that being alone means completely different things to different people, that chosen solitude and forced isolation look identical from outside but feel completely opposite from inside, that we can't assume everyone wants the same thing just because culture says they should, that some people genuinely need to be alone while others desperately need connection, and both experiences deserve validation. Understanding this psychology also reveals something about judgment and assumptions. When someone says they're spending Christmas alone, we can't assume we know what that means for them. It might mean peace they chose. It might mean pain they didn't. We can't know without asking. And maybe the healthiest response isn't pity or concern, it's curiosity. How do you feel about that? Because the answer will reveal whether this is sanctuary or suffering. For people who chose Christmas alone, you're allowed to want this. You're allowed to prefer peace over performance. You're allowed to honor your needs, even when they don't match cultural expectations. Your contentment is valid. Your choice is valid. You don't owe anyone participation in celebrations that deplete you. For people unwillingly alone, your pain is real. Your loneliness matters. Your isolation isn't evidence of deficiency. It's evidence of circumstance. And circumstances can change. You have time. You have options. You can build toward different Christmases. This Christmas alone doesn't define your future. The world needs both. People who can choose authentic solitude over obligatory performance, and people who can acknowledge painful isolation without shame. Because understanding both experiences helps us see that Christmas alone isn't one thing. It's not automatically good or automatically bad. It's whatever it means to the person experiencing it. And whatever it means to you, chosen peace or unwanted pain, you're not wrong for experiencing it that way. You're human with human needs that sometimes align with cultural expectations and sometimes don't. That sometimes include desperate need for solitude and sometimes include desperate need for connection. Both are valid. Both deserve respect. Both are just different ways of being human during one complicated day. Your Christmas alone, whatever form it takes, is teaching you something about what you actually need. For some, it's teaching that you can choose peace over performance. For others, it's teaching that you need to build toward connection. Both lessons matter. Both lessons are true for the person learning them. You're exactly where you are, and wherever that is, peaceful or painful, chosen or circumstantial, it's okay to feel however you feel about it. Your experience is yours, and it's valid, all of it.